My name is Warren Brown, and I am the Executive Director for Blackford County Economic Development Corporation. For us, being a broadband-ready community means that we have gathered data, we understand the challenges, we understand the needs, and we have put in place the right tools so that we are friendly to broadband companies to come do business, and we're prepared to understand what's required for them to do business and what our residents actually need. We're right in the middle of our broadband expansion program right now. So we did a study that showed that we had places in the county where we don't have cellular. So if you can believe that, here we are in central Indiana, in the greatest country in the world, and we have areas that don't have cellular service. We also have a lot of residents that are either underserved or not served at all. And that could be for a variety of reasons. And based on the data that we gathered, we understand some of it's socioeconomic. So they just can't afford it if it is available. Then a lot of the rural customers that we would have, or the rural residents, they don't have access to it. During COVID, we learned that a lot of kids, as they were trying to do their schoolwork from home, there was a lack of not only internet capabilities for them and access for them, but there was also cellular lacks, so that even if they had a card where they might be able to get online, the service wasn't available in 3 different parts of our county. So we knew we had a great need. Using that data, we developed a construction project of 4 180-foot towers, and then to create a fiber loop around that. The towers are built and paid for, yay, and now we're in the process of putting in 27 miles of fiber. And that won't get everybody in the county, but that'll provide service to a good portion of the folks that don't have it now, or don't have a competitive service so that they might be able to make it affordable. Actually, Okra had a really easy process, and then Indiana Broadband did. You just had to go ahead and gather up all your information, get a ordinance together so that you could have a single point of contact, have a tech team committee so that they could review the things and report to the county officials. So the process, really, the state made that really, really easy. To make sure that the community leadership, so the commissioners and the county council, that they understood what Broadband Ready was, what their requirements were, and were they committed to do that. So are we committed to do these things? Are we willing to go ahead and pass the ordinance so that we can go ahead and have a single point of contact? We can make sure that we have our zoning and planning committee and office ready to handle any internet requests that came. So just to make sure that everybody was on the same page, the elected officials, the leadership, understood that, and then community education of what this might mean to them, and just to make sure that the community supported it. Again, the state makes it pretty easy. They help you, but also collect data. Make sure that you have all the data you need. So what we did is an assessment. We went out to every county road intersection and measured speeds of all the providers in that area. Then we worked with Purdue Extension, and we did a speed test. But to actually do a test to see what the speeds are throughout the area that you want to try to serve. So we're a county of about 12,000 people. We had 400 respondents, or just over that. So we had a map that showed almost all the county had at least someone in that area participate. And that gave us a really good idea of where our speeds were. So then we were able to truly identify the needed areas, and that way when we put together our project to try to provide better service to the residents, we had a lot of data to support that. Plus, it makes Indiana understand we're committed to doing data-driven decisions, and that just helps support your applications and what it is you want to try to do. I think understanding why you have good access and why you don't have good access. So for example, if I'm out in a rural community and there's just no access, there's no point-to-point, there's no fiber, there's no Comcast, there's no Xfinity, there's no service available, that's one thing. But there's other things too, just like if you have a family that the minimum amount of price they just can't meet. That means that family can't have service. During COVID we found, and even today, we found that a lot of our kids would have to get in a car somewhere or get a ride somewhere to a parking lot that had free Wi-Fi and up and download their lessons, their homework, get whatever the teacher was putting out. not to have that need to do that, to be able to provide affordability and to provide accessibility. Those would be the two things. So to measure the entire spectrum of why internet service is not available for the area that you want to serve. I think that was really critical for us to develop a good plan to try to address it, and using a variety of different technologies to address it. Just across the board. Again, we're seeing that especially, well, we'll go take a couple examples with the youth being able just to have access so that they can stay at home, especially during inclement weather days. You know, you don't want to see those folks out. But we also have seniors, and there's an awful lot of availability right now of telemedicine. Well, if they don't have the access to quality broadband, they can have less than. So you still might be able to get your emails, your cell phone still might work, but they can't go ahead and do like a Zoom call or any other Microsoft Teams with their doctor. They can't get online with a visiting nurse or something like that. To be able to provide that to them, to provide that to the youth, and just to be able to make sure that people that want to work from home or move into the county because they can work anywhere they want now, to make sure that remote access is available. So I would say about every spectrum of our population was negatively affected by a lack of broadband accessibility, whether it be by cost again or just availability. So our next step is to finish the engineering, which we should finish here this week or next, then put bids out and go through the competitive process to put our fiber ring in. During that time, we want to also analyze, when we're putting fiber in, are there homes along those roads that we may be able to serve directly with fiber? The other thing is to continue to work with private partnership. Make sure that the companies that can provide service, they understand what the state's minimum is, but what our standards are also. You know, it's easy to allow substandard services because it's less money. We want to make sure that the investment in the county meets the actual needs so that people have good quality access to everything. You know, it's not all about whether I can stream the latest games. It's about the opportunities that can bring. Can I work from home? Can I develop my own business? Is there an entrepreneurial spirit, and do we have the tools that will allow them to be successful? Do we have businesses that are outside the city limits that can go ahead and use good internet service to go ahead and expand their business? So all those different facets we're going to try to handle as we start to expand this fiber distribution in the county, and that's a good problem to have, but it's also a difficult problem to solve. So we're looking forward to the opportunity to try to take a swing at that, because you know, the folks that we serve, they're good people, and they deserve to have the availability, the same service that most of the other people in the United States have. So that's what we're going to do. Quality of life. You know, we have houses right now. If you were buying a house, one of the first things you ask, well, what's the broadband like here? Then you ask about schools and where the grocery store is and this and that. But to make sure that we have a community that's ready to grow, and that we have our residents that can function in this century using the technologies that are the latest and the greatest, to make sure agriculture has the availability to use the latest, greatest technologies, to make sure small business does, to make sure the mom and pop businesses do, just to make sure the mom with 2 kids at home, you know, they have the availability. So just across the board, every facet of the community, they have the ability to overcome not being successful because they lack one of the tools of our culture, and that's internet.